Willpower Zone with Will Berry.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Willpower Zone. Today's topic basically is going to be about how to go from Flab to fit and transform once and for all. So if you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and share this with someone. Make sure also comment basically in the comments and just let me know, especially what you thought about the episode and maybe some topics that you'd like for me to discuss, or maybe some questions that you might have. I'd love to be able to answer them and be able to tackle those in another episode. And if you're on Spotify or any other platform, especially for podcasts and everything, make sure to subscribe and also share it with someone, especially so they can impact their life. So for today's episode, really, it's just, it's so important. Just like the previous episode, just talking about health and your true wealth. It's important that everybody, takes the opportunity in their lifetime to go from, of course, the Flab and being on the couch and everything else. I'm dissing everybody, but it's just time for all of us to become our most destined state, which is to become fit and whole and well, so that we can do and embark on many journeys and things that life has to offer. So let's go get right into it for today. So one of the reasons why I finally wanted to kick the habit of being overweight and being out of shape and everything else. So let me tell you a story. So back in 2019, I, of course, really was just pretty much fed up. And the interesting thing is, what happens is that, like, even during right now, especially during the holiday times, what happens that over time, holidays, we all indulge, and it's okay, don't beat yourself up. That's one of the things I think I had to learn over a period of time, especially if let's say I ate something that wasn't supposed to eat, that wasn't on my plan, maybe at the time that was supposed to, that wasn't on Saturday night, which is my normal night that I do for cheat meals and everything else, is not to beat yourself up for it. Indulge, be happy, be well within basically making that decision, and then just move on and then get right back onto it. But yeah, one of the reasons why is just I got fed up year after year, basically seeing myself in the mirror and just not liking what I look like. I wanted to change that once and for all. So I decided to basically just say, hey, it's time for me to get fit, and and eventually basically I had to tie that to a big goal, which was to compete in my first bodybuilding show that next year. So I started that journey, especially back in 2019, around August or so. And then really basically how it got started really is just for me, I did it before. I lost weight before. I was able to scale down to kind of my lowest weight, right in the 220s and everything else. That was like my weight that I had back in high school and everything a couple years prior to that. And then of course holidays and other different things, and work of course got involved. And then, of course I got back to being overweight. So for me, especially 2019, around August and stuff like that, I say, hey, it's time to get it done. It's time to kind of move forward and everything else. So one of the things I decided to do was enter a contest. Now, the interesting thing is, I don't want anyone basically just to be like, oh man, it was easy for you. You just went and entered the contest and did well, and then the rest was history. No, I entered in many other contests before, and I failed, and I did not finish them in its entirety. Usually they were always 12 weeks. So I first maybe we get started a couple weeks, and then maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, and then I would fall off, basically want to eat whatever I wanted to, and then didn't finish the contest. So this time around, everything was different because I had a big time goal that pretty much was like 20 years or so in the making. So, because I wanted to compete in the bodybuilding show that next year. So entered in, a weight loss contest, especially for 12 weeks. And the cool thing is that, I had a pretty cool setup, 50K I would have won, especially if I won the competition, and then also been able to be a fitness model. So it was tied to basically bigger than what I, of course, was here to do. So got into the contest and everything else, stayed consistent, didn't cheat on my diet once or anything like that. And then final results was basically that I ended up losing over about 50 to 60 pounds within about 12 weeks. I was blazing it, and then beyond that, I kept going, especially because I had a bigger goal beyond that, which was basically competing in the bodybuilding show. So once of course I dropped the weight and I really got in good shape and everything else, I wanted to make sure to maintain that and impressed my body even further, and then especially got back into the groove, especially with my fitness coach, Ted the diet coach. Want to give a shout out to him. He's amazing. He's helped me accomplish things that I never thought possible. So check him out. You can check him on Google. Find him on Facebook. Amazing man. He's awesome. So anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. So preparing for my first contest was something else, and really, I was still had to stick to the basics, staying consistent on my diet and everything else. But now things are going to be a lot more strategic on me training a certain particular way, eating a certain particular way, and cadence and everything else, and everything had to be pretty much on point. So in this first show, because it was during the pandemic, especially, everything was delayed. Everything was, of course, shut down and closed and everything else. And the crazy thing is, the first show that had basically in 2020, which especially is supposed to be for June, was actually prolonged. Of course, it was delayed. And the crazy thing is, I still had to stay focused on that. So just imagine getting up to the point, especially where it's peak week and everything else, I'm downing all the water, and then eventually having little to no water, and all the food is starting to scale down and everything else. It can be very challenging on the body. You really have to get mentally focused in order to prepare for a show. But it got delayed. So I had to pretty much refuel, not fall off, refuel in a sense, get back into it, and then hopefully hope that the actual next show, which was targeted for August, was not going to be delayed again because it was the pandemic. So I had to deal with those setbacks and everything else. And at first I kind of started thinking, man, is it really worth it? Should I just kind of hang my hat and just kind of wait till next year until things are open again? But I said no. This was the year, because I knew if I was able to accomplish this goal, and every other door was pretty much going to fling open, because this was so long in the making. This is something I wanted to do for such a long period of time, because way back in 2009, when I went to my first LA Fit Expo, I met fitness people, I met bodybuilders and everything else, and I said, man, I know this is something I can do, and I'd love to be basically a champion for health and wellness, and to show others basically how it's possible. So finally, especially in August, late August 2020, especially, was that time that they still had the show. I was still able to make it happen, especially. And the great thing is, I won actually my novice class, and I almost won the overall bodybuilding division, which was awesome. It would have been great if I won it, but it was okay. The guy who I ended up basically just missing the mark just a little bit, because it was just, it was my first show, so the posing and everything else needed to be a whole lot better and fine-tuned, but it was okay because I just enjoyed and I loved the experience nonetheless. And from there on, it led me then to competing in another show basically a couple months after that, right around November time, which is sometimes difficult because of the holiday festivities and all the food that's going on. So I still had to stay focused during that time. But still, of course, I had my meals and things I wanted to do, especially after the show, because that's usually when the time we do that. But anyway, it is more than possible to go from Flab, being on the couch and everything else, to being fit. And a lot of times it just takes that kick in the pants, and really just to be done with poor habits and lifestyle, basically, in order to accomplish something great. Now, you don't have to, of course, decide to say, oh, I want to compete in the bodybuilding show, but if you do, hey, I say go for it, or if you say, hey, I want to be around for my kids, well into their later years, especially, so you have to get fit for that if you want to be able to do that, or I want to travel, or I want to be able to start this business, basically, that I've always wanted to do. Whatever it is, you need to be in your fit, defined state in order to be able to perform at your best. So I hope you got a lot out of today, kind of some insights and things I went over, especially, about my journey, especially becoming fit once and for all, and knowing the habits and things that were going to be necessary for me to continue to maintain it. It's not always easy. I'm here to tell you, sometimes there's distractions and things that come up, but it's more than doable. And just like me, I'm no one special. Yes, I think, yes, sometimes in many cases, yes, I might be special, but I have a special mission of what I'm here to do and impress upon you, especially motivate you to be your best version of yourself. But anybody can do it. And all it takes is time and consistency. And one of the things I want to leave you with is that be willing to look bad at what you're meant to do for a period of time until eventually you start looking better and better at it. Because when you first start your journey, it's not going to look right. It's going to look off, and you're going to be like, oh man, should I continue on? But keep going. And then in the middle of things, it start to look a little bit better, things start to look greater. But remember, you have to conceive it in your mind first before you actually see it come to pass. And I saw myself fit before I became fit. And that was the most important thing to help keep driving me and keep me motivated. So make sure if you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, especially, and also leave some comments and everything. If of course you want me to answer some questions and other topics, especially you want me to tackle. But I hope you got a lot out of today. Remember to stay in the zone, the willpower zone, and we will see you again next time.